What a new school choice law in Missouri could mean for private and charter schools.
The leaders at the Irene Ransom Bradley School of Nursing have been training nurses in Crawford County to specialize in sexual assault and domestic abuse for years, but now they'll be doing it for the entire state of Kansas. Details are next.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Law enforcement in Lamar, Missouri arrest a man accused of trying to rob a bank. This is KOAM News at 10. Authorities say 50-year-old Rowdy Masterson of Lamar was leaving the Community National Bank and Trust today as officers were responding to calls that it was being robbed. Masterson is charged with attempted second-degree robbery, terroristic threats, and felony resisting arrest. The family of Daniel Holden, a man who died in Carthage police custody, is suing the Carthage Police Department and the city. The suit alleges that Holden ingested meth during a traffic stop that he received during a controlled buy orchestrated by police, and that after he ingested that meth, a total of 13 grams, he began seizing and vomiting in the jail. The suit says police did not immediately call for emergency medical help despite knowing that Holden ingested the meth. Instead, attorneys for the family say officers took Holden into an interrogation room before providing any medical assistance. The family is asking for compensation for all losses and damages. Doug Hetty, some of us getting a bit of rain and a light show at the moment.
Yeah, scattered showers and thunderstorms have been building across the region. This is what we're going to see through the night. You can see some of the lightning looking north on our tower cam, but ahead of it, very hot today, 98. Started at 78. We had heat indices 105 to about 110 throughout the afternoon. All right, look at this cluster of storms kind of sinking south back toward the southwest as we have worked through the past several hours. So a pretty good complex. These are strong storms, not severe, but strong from Girard, Pittsburgh, northern parts of Cherokee County. A little cluster right around Oronogo, just north of Oronogo, and then another pretty good cluster on the east side of Newton County, so really Neosho over toward Granby. And then behind this, we got additional thunderstorms which are building out across central Kansas. So this is going to keep our chances for showers and thunderstorms in the forecast through the overnight hours tonight and then again into tomorrow. So we'll discuss that here in just a bit.
See you then. The U.S. Census data is out and the four states have seen some growth. Over the past 10 years, Joplin grew by more than 1,600 people. In 2010, the population was 50,150 people, and by 2020, it had grown to 51,762. In Pittsburgh, the city's population grew from 20,233 to 20,646. Missouri's COVID-19 death toll reaches a grim milestone. The Missouri Health Department's coronavirus dashboard showed 20 new deaths, bringing the total now to more than 10,000 since the pandemic began. Deaths have been rising again in recent weeks due to the Delta variant, and it's been especially troubling in southwestern Missouri. New cases and hospitalizations also at their worst levels since the winter. Nationally, more than 615,000 Americans have died from the virus. SANE stands for Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner, and today at PSU, nurses spent the day training to become SANE certified. Thanks to a new $1.5 million grant, this local training will soon spread throughout Kansas. KOAM's Mike Mahoney was at that training and has details.
According to the KBI's Kansas Crime Index 2020, cases of reported rape in Kansas decreased from 1,297 in 2019 to 1,190 in 2020. But in 2021, Wendy Overstreet, a sexual assault nurse examiner and coordinator of PSU's SANE program, says that's not what she sees in Crawford County.
We have noticed here just at our facilities, which is the Southeast Kansas Community Health Center and Ascension Health, we have noticed an increase, especially over the weekend, of reported cases. We went from seeing none to in the last 4 to 6 weeks, we do about 2 to 3 a weekend, and now over the last 3 weeks, we've had 1 to 2 report during the week.
Fortunately, help is on the way as Kansas nurses spent Thursday training to become SANE certified at PSU's Irene Ransom Bradley School of Nursing. And they weren't alone. Local law enforcement was there to make sure they're on the same page with SANE nurses when it comes to both sexual assault and domestic violence.
This class really allows law enforcement the opportunity to see and experience what our SANE nurse partners look at, why they collect evidence, how they collect evidence, why they ask the questions to the victims that they do, how they ask those questions, and what they write in their reports. So whenever we get those reports, we're able to understand the process that they went through with the victims of sexual assault, and then we can convey that information to our prosecutor.
Wendy Overstreet and her co-workers have been training SANE nurses for Crawford County since they received a grant for it in 2018. Now, the grant has been extended and given a $1.5 million boost, so the experts at PSU can train nurses throughout Kansas. And Wendy says that's exactly what the Sunshine State needs, with only 18 to 20% of Kansas counties having a registered SANE nurse or SANE facility.
I just want it to where patients or victims don't have to drive 4 to 5 hours to receive care. So if we can get it 30 to 45 minutes, we'd be good.
In Crawford County, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
SANE training is free of charge and is also made possible due to assistance from the Kansas Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today announced the state is handing out more than $6 million in grants to 40 domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse programs. Hope Unlimited in Allen County is receiving more than $193,000. In Crawford County, Safe Crisis Center gets more than $239,000 and Children's Advocacy Center receives $48,000. Missouri creates a school choice program focused on students with disabilities and from low-income households. The program gives tax credits to people who donate money to scholarship funds. Now, starting next year, the scholarships will then be given to students with disabilities and those from low-income households so they can attend a private school or other educational program outside the public school system. Some are pushing against the idea, though.
Right now we rank 49th in the nation in starting teacher salaries in Missouri. And instead of investing more money into a need like that, we've passed a voucher bill that actually dilutes the resources available to public schools.
The program will be available only in cities with populations higher than 30,000. In our area, that means only Joplin. And students who take part in the program will continue to be counted in their home districts for the first 5 years of the program. Volunteers showed up today to help residents vacate the Miami Towers in downtown Miami, Oklahoma. The city is working on renovating the 100-year-old building, but an engineering survey showed the structural integrity of the building is compromised. The city just yesterday gave residents until noon today to vacate. Some of those residents are elderly, so volunteers turned up to help.
So I think a lot of people have really been struggling with the anxiety. So we felt the need as a mental health organization to come down and make sure that we're here not only to help people physically move, but for emotional support as well.
The Miami Housing Authority helped put residents in new temporary homes. The Economic Security Corporation's Homeless Coalition today hosted their Summer Project Homeless Connect event in Joplin. Organizers say the event serves as a one-stop shop for people experiencing homelessness to access resources for health care, food, employment, housing, even haircuts.
A lot of them are really hot with the temperatures outside, so being able to cut their hair and help them keep cool. And then just giving them a little piece of hope. A lot of them don't have a lot of hope. So if I can speak into them, then.
According to the Economic Security Corporation, there were 313 homeless people in 2020 in Joplin. The number dropped to 210 this year. Officials aren't exactly sure what the cause was. Still ahead, the Pentagon sends troops to Afghanistan to evacuate the embassy in Kabul as the Taliban continues its push through the country. And at least one major company is pumping the brakes on its return to the office. The deteriorating security conditions have prompted a fresh deployment of U.S. troops to Afghanistan. Roughly 3,000 are now heading to the Kabul airport. The White House says it's not reconsidering the decision to end its combat mission there. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
As the Taliban continues to gain ground across Afghanistan, the Pentagon is sending around 3,000 U.S. troops to Kabul to help evacuate embassy staff.
These forces are being deployed to support the orderly and safe reduction of civilian personnel at the request of the State Department.
An official told CBS News the decision was prompted by the fall of Ghazni, a city near Kabul.
Cognizant of that security situation, this administration believed that this was a prudent action to take.
Taliban fighters have seized control of roughly 2/3 of the country in recent weeks. Thursday, they took their biggest prize yet, Kandahar, the second largest city in the country. The State Department says the embassy is not closing.
This is not abandonment. This is not an evacuation. This is not the wholesale withdrawal. What this is a reduction in the size of our civilian footprint.
President Biden did not comment on the developments on Thursday, but he's defended his decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan by the end of August. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The State Department says a core diplomatic staff will continue working at the American Embassy in Afghanistan under the protection of several hundred U.S. troops. Extreme temperatures are scorching countries around the Mediterranean. The record-breaking heat is fueling wildfires, killing dozens of people. Some of the hardest hit areas include Algeria, Greece, and Sicily, where temperatures hit 120 degrees. Facebook employees aren't going back to the office anytime soon. The tech company has delayed its employees' return to the office until January. Many of the tech industry's biggest companies had set September as the target to reopen after the pandemic. Well, now these companies are delaying those plans as concerns about the COVID-19 Delta variant increase. And in some cases, they're requiring vaccinations for employees who are returning. Amazon and Lyft have also announced they would not bring corporate workers back to the office until early next year, while Google, Apple, Uber, and Microsoft have adopted more of a wait-and-see approach. Amazon says it'll compensate customers for defective products from third-party sellers. The e-commerce giant says starting September 1st, it'll pay up to $1,000 for defective product claims that may have caused injury or damages. Previously, Amazon had a largely hands-off approach with third-party products, telling customers to take it up with the seller. Global supply chain problems are hitting close to home. According to a new Gallup poll, 60% of Americans say they haven't been able to get a product they wanted due to a shortage triggered by the pandemic. And more than half have experienced significant delays in receiving something they ordered. In fact, 70% of Americans have had at least one of these issues. Later, a Pitt State basketball star is returning to the team, but this time she'll be playing a different role.
Plus, some thunderstorms have been rotating through over the past couple hours. How long are they going to stick around? We'll look at that coming up. Well, another hot, humid day for us today. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the region over the past few hours have been kind of diving into the region. And it looks like we're going to continue to see these as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. But a nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside on the west side of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures have cooled down a little bit. We've had an outflow boundary, or kind of like a gust front or a little cool front that has rotated through due to thunderstorms that have kind of sunk right into southwestern Missouri. So a lot of us mid to upper 70s across the region, so it feels a little bit better. Still, some of the areas in our southwestern counties still have a heat index near 90, but everybody's going to cool down just a bit. But quite a lightning show going on out there. These thunderstorms, most of them are just strong, but very electric storms, so really lighting up the sky. Currently outside, 78 east winds at about 10 to 15. Dew point is at 64 degrees, and you can see this cluster. Watch it sink south. Watch this little line ahead of it. You can see right all the way through here. That's our little gust front that has rotated through. So with it, it's kind of like a little cold front, gives us a nice cool push of cooler air across the region. These storms have been sinking south and off toward the south and to the west. Look at these clusters. So we got one just to the east of Parsons. Here's Girard, Pittsburgh. Look how much lightning is in these storms on the west side of Pittsburgh all the way down through Cherokee County toward Columbus. Then there's a little bit of a gap, so it's not raining in Joplin. Then we got more storms on the southeastern side of the metro, so Neosho over toward Granby, and these are pretty electric storms as well. We can track a little bit farther toward the east, southern parts of Lawrence County, and then down through Berry County as well. So quite a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, and then we have more which are building back out across central parts of Kansas, and those guys are going to fill in later on tonight and then into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. All right, let's go through time. This cluster works through, we get a break. Here's 1:30 in the morning. Watch more storms filling in from the north. So late tonight into tomorrow morning, we'll have additional scattered thunderstorms. Here's 7:30 in the morning. These guys will push through, and then by late morning into the early afternoon, we pretty much dry out. Until late afternoon, we'll get scattered thunderstorms again, but in our southern counties. And if you're heading down to Grand Lake or Table Rock or Beaver tomorrow evening, you're going to have to watch these storms. But north of Interstate 44, it should be mainly dry. Most of these guys roll out tomorrow night, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few more trying to pop up again by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. So that's something we'll have to watch for Saturday. For us, at least tomorrow, we're going to drop into the mid-70s to start the day, but right around 90, 92 degrees once again as we go into the afternoon hours. Here's the good news. Heat and sea still kind of high, but not near as bad tomorrow, about 95 to 100 degrees compared to 105 to 110 over the past few days. Scattered thunderstorms tonight into the morning, and then another cluster late tomorrow, 92 for a high, 90 on Saturday. A little bit cooler Sunday and Monday, and then warming back up next week with just kind of hit and miss storms each day.
Meteors last night and the lightning show tonight. It's a good time to be a sky watcher.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Joplin's Ronald McDonald House van has a new look. Organizers showed off the van's new wrap. It was provided by Sign Design with materials and labor donated by members of the Tri-State Sign Association. Updating the branding is intended to promote awareness of the Ronald McDonald House and all it does to help the families of ill children.
It's always good to have a fresh look, new colors, new style, different graphics, update pictures of people and things, and so we recommend that a lot for our wraps that we may do years in past. It's time to update them every few years.
And you should know the Ronald McDonald House of the Four States relies on donations to provide its services. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from former Pitt State standout Michaela Burgess on rejoining the Gorillas basketball program, and the Neosho Wildcats hit the field for their first week of practice under a new head coach. Jacob Leonard has those stories and more next.
The Neosho Wildcats are in the middle of their first week of football practice. And the Wildcats are just 1 week away from playing in their jamboree and 2 weeks away from the regular season opener. Now, Neosho, coming off a winless season, they went 0-10 in 2020. They head into this year with a new head coach in Brandon Towdy. And Towdy comes to Neosho after 10 years at Joplin High School, where he was the offensive coordinator. So he's no stranger to the COC, and he says his time at Joplin taught him a lot about leading a program.
I learned a lot from that. You know, I got to work with some really good coaches, and so I was able to learn under some good coaches and just learn about building cultures. I was given a lot of responsibility, so, you know, being a leader in that situation, and I was able to gain a lot of experience in that area. My expectations are for us to show up every single day and with a great attitude and give great effort and get better every snap. And if we do that, the results will take care of themselves.
And Neosho opens the season on the 27th on the road against Republic. Former Pittsburgh State basketball standout Michaela Burgess is returning to PSU. And Burgess is joining the women's basketball coaching staff as a graduate assistant this season. And she played for Pitt State from 2015 to 2018, scoring more than 1,800 points, and helping the Gorillas make the national tournament 3 times. Joining the staff at Pitt State will be a bit of a balancing act for Burgess, who currently owns and runs a preschool in Webb City.
Coach David's been amazing. She knows that that's my priority. I got to get things done over there, and we will. I have an amazing staff of teachers over there, and they all know, and they're on board. That's mornings only, so I'll just bust it over here in the afternoons, get real familiar with that drive again from Joplin to Pittsburgh.
She is a person, I think, that kind of you feel like has the world in the palm of her hand. Like, she could do a lot of different things. This is something that she wants to be a part of again, and so you obviously do not want to deny that. to a person, and I think that she's very capable of doing both.
The St. Louis Cardinals have been on a roll in the last week. The Cards have won 4 of their last 5, including the first 2 games for their 3-game series against the Pirates. St. Louis goes for the sweep today in Pittsburgh. First inning, Colin Moran goes deep with 2 on. Pirates on top 3-1. On the top of the 4th, though, new ball game here. Paul DeYoung gets this one up and out for the 2-run jack. We're all tied up at 3. The same inning, Lars Newbar in there to pinch hit. This will be a 2-run homer. Cards go back in front 5-3. They would win it and get the series sweep today 7-6. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, Corporal Sam Allen. Allen served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War, and we are proud to salute Corporal Sam Allen. He's tonight's 4-state hero. All right, look at this. Believe it or not, this is a motorcycle. Yeah, the face is the back of the bike, and you'll see the handlebars in some of these shots if you take a close look. Yeah, there, look at that. It's not all, every single part of this bike was made with a 3D printer. It took 3 years to build, which is a pretty long time. There is a catch though. This monstrously cool bike is more for show, less for hitting the road. Want to see that on Halloween. Or maybe you don't want to see that on Halloween. You're seeing some lightning out there in lots of the 4 states.
Yeah, scattered thunderstorms continuing for most of the night into the morning hours, and then a few more popping back up late tomorrow.
Final sports now.
We put our complete story with Michaela Burgess on the website. Go to the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com.
Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.